Hello, Rose Griscom here, Director of the Institute of Thai Massage USA. This is another infomercial. This one is about teacher training. So I've been asked to describe my teacher training program because, as I have said in the past, I teach a little bit unusually. I'm very focused on multidiscipline teaching, multiple intelligences, diversity within the classroom, respect within the classroom. So what I mean by I teach differently is the Thai massage teacher training course that I present has a component related to your skill set you have to know Thai massage well. That's the baseline before you even get in the class. You must know the material, be knowledgeable about the material, be experienced. And often in body work, that's all it takes to then become a teacher, is we know our modality, we know our protocol, we have a certain excellence of skill, and then we're asked to teach that. But what gets ignored is there's a whole nother skill set that's different from body work, being good at that, and that's knowing how to teach. Understanding why you as an individual teach, what your intention is, what your goals are, what your style of teaching is. That's a whole nother skill set. So my focus in teacher training is that skill set, the teaching skill set, how to, learning how to teach, because it's an ongoing process, just like Thai massage is. We get a basic set of tools, which is my idea to present to you in the teacher training, what that wide variety of tools is. We practice those, we evaluate, we learn from it, we refine, and we get better and better at those tools. So the teacher training course that I have has 3 parts to it. You can go here online and read the description of it, thai-massage.org. If you look under the classes tab, you'll see one that says teacher training, and that describes the teacher training course. I've been doing this teacher training over 20 years. So I've really developed it, I think, very fully. So people can learn this other skill set. Basically, there's 3 parts to the teacher training. Part 1 is focused on how to teach. Parts 2 and 3 are practicums, assisting in a class, teaching a level 1, level 2 class, or just teaching different classes with supervision and getting feedback on those. So I'm going to focus on part 1, the how to teach. I just want to give you some idea of what you'd be into for this class. The goals are to take the skill set you have as a Thai therapist, add a new skill set of how to teach, so you can combine those and share this love of the work. It's a work that it's great to share. There's a lot of need for it. And I'd like to see quality teachers out there teaching the work. So the kind of things we'll cover is, again, all my teaching, it's multi-discipline, multi-style. So there'll be a little bit of poetry and reading. There'll be a little bit of inspiration with things. There'll be some fair amount of discussion of what it means to teach. So in general, the course is very interactive. There's group discussion. There's reflective exercises such as journaling, doing homework. There's one-on-one, small group interactions. There's practicums, like taking the things that I'm presenting, such as one of the short little modules is about storytelling, because teaching is telling a story. And many things, they get home better. We bring them home when we tell a story. For example, I got into this and learned a lot of these when I was learning to teach Tai Chi, a Chinese self-care discipline, and took a 3-year course in teaching Tai Chi. And I immediately realized that some of those techniques could be applied to teaching Thai massage, which I was also already doing. So knowing how to do that has been really, really beneficial. And part of that is, how do you tell a story as a teacher? You know, I often start my classes with an opening story, whether it's about Buddhism or a client or the mountain of Thai massage and climbing that beautiful mountain. Skill set that one can learn about how to tell a better story that's more engaging. So that's a small little module. For example, we do all of those variety of different things. We also will look at things like, okay, what's a good teacher? What qualities make a good teacher of bodywork? And it takes a lot of skills. I find a whole different part of my brain is working when I'm doing Thai massage and when I'm teaching Thai massage. And getting the two parts of that brain to coordinate can be a learning process. So what are the kind of things that you think makes a good teacher? Tell me about a teacher you've had that you really learned from, that you loved learning with, that was engaging and authentic and trustworthy, that created a space. You know, we all have people in that, like that in our lives, whether they're formal teachers or other people that we know that we've learned something from. So crystallizing that, getting your own definition of what that is, what your priorities are, what qualities you want to develop, finding your role, your voice as a teacher. So we talk about that. What is the role of a teacher? It can really vary what the role of a teacher is. Are you a coach? Are you inspiration? Are you a gardener that just plants seeds and it grows? Are you a lighthouse kind of person? Like, how do you see yourself as an individual in the way you want to teach? Do you want to crank out students? Do you want like a super successful teaching factory? A lot of information in, a lot of people coming, a lot of money, a lot of action? Are you artistic? Do you like to just not think about it too much and intuitively create? It can be very helpful to understand yourself and your role in these terms to help you fine-tune your approach to teaching, to make yourself the best that you can be, to present yourself with confidence about how you as a teacher are. And then we get into some very specific tools of teaching. One I think is very important and often overlooked is, to teach well, you have to listen to your students. Listen and understand their questions. Listen with your eyes by observing what they're doing, giving feedback, which is honest, but kind and supportive. So a little exercise to how to be an effective listener. A little exercise to how to be an effective observer. When you look across the room of 20 people and you see someone doing the technique incorrectly, is that incorrectly that it's going to hurt someone and I need to speak up quickly to stop it? Is that incorrectly, but it's okay? They're getting the gist of it. I don't need to stop everything at the moment. I can perhaps talk to them privately on the side later. Is that incorrectly, but actually, now that I look at it, it's not the way I do it, but that actually might work okay for that person in that body. So that takes a keen observer's eye and the willingness to be honest and authentic and vulnerable, to question things, if that's your style. If you're more authoritarian, excuse me, teacher, then know that, and own that, and be the fairest, most best teacher in that style that you can. Then once we kind of know about ourselves, what are some really practical methods of teaching? Things like cueing, demonstrating, lecturing, using AV equipment, cooperative learning. What are those methods, those tools, those techniques of teaching? What are they what are they good for in different situations with body work? Don't think that everything, most people, only 20% are auditory learners. So just saying it, it's not going to sink in for a lot of people. What other things can you do? Whether it's creating silly little charts that have pictures and create a picture for our picture learners, whether it's tactile, kinesthetic movements, you know, what are the ways that you can present it so that people can learn? How do people learn? What are primary learning methods? How do I recognize that in my students? When I first was learning, I used to assist Arthur Lambert, my first time assessed teacher. Very experienced teacher, excellent teacher, but pretty set in his teaching ways, pretty old school as a lecturer. So I remember one class, he was demonstrating a movement on the legs, working on a student, class of 20, and I'm assisting back in the back. And he's saying, put the left foot behind the left heel, take your left hand, put on top of their right foot, and press forward. Very auditory, very specific words. Some people got that because they could also watch him. But student in the back who was facing him, so she had a mirror image. Left and right maybe weren't as easy for her to get in that mirror image. And he saw her struggling, so he said it louder. Left hand, left foot, press forward. And her frustration was growing because the words were not sinking in with her. They just weren't the way she was picking it up. Then he did it the third time, louder still. But by then I was able to go over to her and simply take her left hand and put it on the left foot, be next to her, rocking my body to mimic what the movement was. And that kinesthetic, taking her hand, putting it in the right place, was the cue she needed to then allow the learning to look at me right next to her, not the mirror image that was perhaps confusing her, and put it together so she could learn, to remove that obstacle to learning. So recognizing things like that, recognizing your learners so that you, when there's a problem, you have a quicker solution to help them move forward with it. Plus in our own life, that stuff is super useful. Then other useful things like lesson plans. You know, body workers tend maybe not to be quite like that, but it's just like when you were in school and you learned a routine, having a foundation, a framework can be very helpful. So what's your lesson plan? What is a lesson plan? Then you make one. We'll make a few. A 2-hour introductory course. What's my lesson plan? What am I going to teach? How am I going to teach it? What method am I going to use? What movements am I going to show? What's my time frame? When are my breaks? How much is introduction? How much is wrap up? How many people would I like to have? What am I going to charge? Practical things like that. How to have a successful class. Whatever your vision of that is, whatever, you know, format you see yourself doing it, whether it's one-on-one, in a spa, online, just to friends, whatever your vision, your voice is, helping you find ways to implement that, to set those goals and ways to reach those goals. Then we talk about lots of other things and practice these things. We're not just talking about it, we're practicing and we're doing it. You have your homework, you create your lesson plan that night, you come back, you do it to us, you share it. We give you feedback, what worked, what didn't work so well. We video record you so you can see how you sound. I had one student, great teacher, but she was nervous about how she looked on camera or how she looked in front of a class. So we pulled her aside and we talked about that. What would help you feel more confident? You know, practice how you want to do your hair and your makeup. Get your phone and video that. Wear a blue shirt. It brings out that color in your eyes. You feel confident and comfortable. Go shopping, get 3 blue shirts. that are comfortable, that will work for body work, that you feel strong and empowered in. Simple things like that, practical tools. That's what this class is really about, is practical tools that you can use. And we talk about the elephant in the room, abuse of money, sex, and power. Like in many fields, when one starts becoming a person of authority or presenting themselves as such, the seduction of that can be a challenge to maintain good boundaries and to be conscious of the potential for abuse of money, sex, relationships in class, and those are all about power. So we just bring that elephant out of the room and share viewpoints, share strategies and tools, ways to recognize that. If we're dealing with those issues ourselves, ways to bring them forward and tools we can use to be better in balance with it as humans. Conflicts in the classroom. It happens sometimes. I was teaching very early on in my practice, and I had two students who just did not click. They just did not get along, two teacher trainee students. And just were always rubbing each other the wrong way. So how do I address that in the classroom to be a leader, to create a space where people can learn? You know, we give you options of how to work with conflict, what conflict looks like, tools for dealing with it, really practical stuff. It's awesome. It really is awesome. It's not just applying to teaching Thai massage. These are tools for teaching anything. I've had personal trainers take my teacher training class. If you're dealing with movement and teaching someone how to move their body, it's really, really helpful to understand a lot of these concepts. If you're just teaching your kid how to ride a bike, if you're teaching an employee how to greet your customers or work the desk, these are universal techniques that we can all apply, both specifically teaching Thai massage or body work or anything else. I've had teachers come and just it has shifted their perspective of themselves, you know, to realize that they're a kinesthetic learner, that they do not remember something unless their body moves, and that they weren't stupid all those years in school because they were fidgety and did not understand what the teacher was saying. So I love teaching this material. I would love to share it with you. If you're interested in a program like this, please reach out and contact me. You can, again, look online. You'll see a link there where you could email me. My email address is rose@thai-massage.org, rose@thai-massage.org, but you'll find links on the website too. I use lots of resources about teaching. We do handouts, we do drawings, we do fun things. So normally part 1, part 2 and 3 being the practicum. Part 1 is a week. It's NCBT and BCEs for that. I actually usually schedule that class when I have enough people interested in taking it. I have 2 students at the moment who've reached out and say, when you do your next one, I want to be in it. So if you're interested in that, even if you don't have a time and date, you're worried about money, etc., just reach out. Let me know that you're one of those people who's interested. It's usually an in-person class. Like many of us, I'm considering going online, taking part of it as digital, whether that's a webinar that you just watch or a live stream. I'm looking at ways to do that. So if that's something that interests you, it would also need the in-person piece of it, but that could even maybe be a live webinar. So I just wanted you guys to know about it, that this is what I do. I love doing it. If you see that it's something useful for you, it can even be taken in small doses. I've done this as a private training where we take those 7 days and we met once a month, just one day over 7 months. No, I didn't say that right. Yeah, we met once a month. Another private training, we met once a week. And get the material, practice, come back, we look at it together. So I hope you're doing well. If it's something you're interested, please reach out to me and we can discuss it more. Be well.